Welcome to the Private Lending Insider Podcast, where we offer education, expert guidance, and access to reliable private capital, empowering real estate investors to successfully develop affordable and workforce housing. As a result of the education and expert guidance shared on the Private Lending Insider Podcast, real estate investors, developers, and entrepreneurs gain fair access to reliable private capital to fund their profitable investment properties with greater ease, enabling them to earn the income they desire and live the lifestyle they really want. For continuing education and access to private capital, visit chamblissmortgagecapital.com after the podcast. Here's your show host, founder, and CEO of Chambliss Mortgage Capital, Mr. Randy Chambliss, the private money lender expert.
What up, everybody? Happy Thursday to you. I am your host of the Private Lending Insider Podcast. I'm Randy Chambliss, the financial and private money lender expert. So listen, again, I am super excited to be with you today. This is like our very first, episode of the Private Lending Insider Podcast for 2025. So listen, I'm going to make sure I give you some great information. Well, what's the purpose of the podcast? Well, the purpose of the podcast is to make sure that you get insights on how to get access to private money or private capital to fund your profitable real estate deals easier, so you can earn the income you prefer and live the lifestyle that you really want, all while be able to make a huge impact in the communities that you are investing in, right? Why? Because you're creating more affordable and workforce housing that's going to allow us to be able to prevent, reduce, and end financial insecurities and also homelessness in our communities. So listen, I want to get to my slides, guys, and talk to you a little bit about today's training, right? Today's training is maximizing your investment opportunities with private money, right? So you're going to discover by the end of this training how to uncover the strategies, the benefits, and the best practices to getting access to private capital, right? So that's what I promise you. Stay tuned to the end of this video. I'm going to show you how can we continue to work together. You can continue to learn, but more importantly, how can you be able to increase your income by increasing your investment portfolio, right? So listen, you might be asking yourself, like, who am I? Like, who is Randy Chambliss? You might be watching me for the first time, right? And this might be a couple of the third time that you've seen it, but who am I? Well, I've been investing into real estate and a homeowner for about maybe 18 years, right? I was 26 years old when I purchased my first property. I've been teaching financial literacy, financial education, applying that information, and also sharing that information and continue learning that for over 20 years, since I was, 24 years old, right? I'm showing my age. Also, I've been a mortgage loan originator since 2007, that is, right? So close to 17 years, right? So from that time to this time, I've purchased, rehabbed, and sold over 20 different properties. I built 2, 3, maybe 4 new constructions directly from the ground, beautiful luxury home, had those sold, and been involved in many heavy rehab and project management opportunities over the years. I've helped countless first-time home buyers from that time to this time to get the education, also get the expert guidance, and be able to get the money they need to buy their first home. From that time to this time, I've helped countless real estate investors just like yourself get access to the capital they need to go and buy a property, rehab their property, and either rent it out, right, and refinance and keep it for cash flow, or just simply sell that property for an affordable house, right? So I went through the 2009 and 2008 banking crises that we went through, been through the COVID-19 issues that we had in the marketplace. And so if I could get through those times and help individuals to do the same, then I can help you too in these times that we're going through. So if you want continual education right here, right now, right, I encourage you to simply go to chamblissmortgagecapital.com, chamblissmortgagecapital.com, and join our community. It's a mastermind community where you have continuing education. You'll be able to network with individuals all across the country, start to build relationships, but more important, to be able to build your team, right? I tell my students, I tell my children all the time, listen, business building and also wealth building is a team sport. Like, you can't do this alone, ladies and gentlemen. You have to have a team in place, team of experts, right? A mastermind. So that way you can be encouraged, you stay inspired, but also accountability, right? Sometimes you need somebody just to be in your face just a little bit and say, hey, did you do what you said you was going to do, right? So you just simply go to chamblissmortgagecapital.com, click on that link that says join the community, and then it's going to bring you right here to the top right. All you're going to have to do is just click on it and say request to join. That's it. Once you request to join, there's a lot of video content from trainings that we've done in the past. That is a lot of information back there. So I am super excited about that. And by the way, it's free right now, right? Because we're in our beta launch stage, I like to call it, our beta launch stage. And the reason why it's free, because from time to time, we ask feedback from everybody in the community and say, how can we get better, right? What would you like to learn? What do you need clarity on? And then we create those training topics, we drop it in there. And then from time to time, we meet in the in-person meeting, right? Face-to-face, belly-to-belly, I like to call it. So here's what we call our circle of wealth, right? You're going to discover the financial well-being towards your freedom for your financials, right? Number one is FSU, or Financial Success University, right? And that's the platform I was just mentioning to you, the mastermind community. It's Financial Success University. And so we provide financial education, financial literacy, and then we also have United Wealth Education that we use as our financial tools, right? Our financial platform to provide those services that individuals would need to accomplish to reach their goals, right? Because not everybody is ready to be a homeowner yet. Not everybody financially ready right now to be an investor. Well, through these two platforms from FSU and UE, we can get that person in that position so they have more cash left over at the end of the month, than they do bills, so they can start to invest in the future. And then we partner up with a nonprofit that's been around for 20 years called United Credit Education Services. And they're the ones that help us to be able to help build our clients' credit. And then next stage is to be their homeowner, right? Either there's going to be a duplex that you're purchasing, right? So you can live on one side and rent the other side out, a fourplex you're purchasing, or you simply just making a purchase on a single family home, right? Geneva Financial is our home loan partner, and that's where we're able to help people get that funding that they need, right? My wife and I, we're a branch manager with Geneva Financial. Now listen, that brings it to Chambliss Mortgage Capital. Well, Chambliss Mortgage Capital is that investor loan platform, right? Chambliss Mortgage Capital is a direct private money lender, national company, and we are backed by a leading national private credit firm that has funded over $10 billion over the last 10 years alone in simply investor loans, right? Not stocks and bonds, mutual funds. All the capital was strictly for investor loans, right? And so Chambliss Mortgage Capital, as a result of the education, the expert guidance, and the private money that we lend, real estate investors, developers, and entrepreneurs get fair and equitable access to the cash they need quicker so they can close those profitable deals easier, so they can go out there and earn the income that they prefer, right? That's the whole point. So there are some financial insecurities and homelessness that we have our hat in to be able to fight this fight. And that is through advocacy, from raising awareness and coordinated financial services that we just talked about. So listen, that's a couple of things I need you guys to be aware of, right? 80% of small businesses that apply for a business loan, according to SBA, not according to Randy, right? According to SBA, 80% of those business loan applications were rejected, were denied. This in 2023. It was even higher in 2024. So your local banks, your regional banks, they're having a tough time funding businesses. And one of the reasons why is because a lot of those local and regional banks has invested in commercial office buildings, right? Commercial office buildings. And we know what happened in 2020 during COVID-19. People was forced to stay where? You're right, at home, right? They was forced to stay at home. They became hybrid workers, right? And some people became permanently working from home, right? In the comfort in their own office in their house. And so the need for commercial office space has started to decline since that time. And right now it is extremely bad right now. So a lot of your private equity firm, private credit firm, they're literally turning the keys in and say, listen, here go the keys to this office building. So the regional banks, local banks, they're being stuck with this bag. So there's a lot of foreclosure, a lot of things in the market happening in commercial loans right now, right? And that's one of the reasons why the banks cannot fund typical small businesses. A second disadvantage or unfair economic opportunity, I like to call, is big banking, right? And so there's about $87 trillion, right, between venture capital and private credit firms or private equity firms, I should say. $87 trillion that they have combined that they have access to. Right around 1.33% of that $87 trillion is reinvested to businesses that started and ran by people of color and women combined. Think about that. Less than 1.33% of $87 trillion reinvested to those individuals. So where is the other 98.66% of that capital is going? Well, think about this. The biggest donor or the biggest investor into these private equity and venture capitalist company, mutual fund company, right, that have this $87 trillion is public employee pension systems, right? So raise your hand, right, in your own mind, how many people you know, right? You might be yourself. That's either a teacher, a nurse working with one of our government hospitals, working for the city government, state government, federal government, right? Firefighter, police officer, etc., right? Every time they get a paycheck, right, a portion of that percentage come out for their pension plan. And it goes up to hopefully one day in the future, it will pay them for retirement. Well, aggregated together, these companies have access to it, but you, that woman, that person of color, that brown and black person of color, guess what, is not able to get access to that capital. So I always use that now. Let's think about this for a moment. Let's say that you are starting a race. And the race is called the Indy 500, right? And you have a opponent. Both of you all have a 2025 souped up Ferrari, right? Beautiful, beautiful, off the flow, showroom flow. Both of you all are skilled, trained, and developed, passionate, and committed to what you're doing. And then your opponent starts at lap 400. And you start where? At lap 0. That's not fair, and that's not equitable access, right? And so what happens when we can't get access to capital? Well, we can't build wealth as quickly, right? Opportunity is there, opportunity is coming, but if you can't have capital to fund that opportunity, you're in a very bad spot. And so investing in real estate as a real estate investor or developer, right, it's a very capital intense business model. So you're always looking for new capital. How can I fund these deals? Because if once you get skilled, trained, and developed, the opportunities is going to come, right? People are going to be calling you. You're going to be finding wholesale deals that's off the market before it get listed on the MLS with a realtor, right? And you'll be able to take advantage of these deals when you have access to the private capital and the skills to do it. So think about this. At the bottom right-hand side, you see that big old soccer field, right? You see a whole layer of money. The whole layer that ends up being a soccer field, right? The same size is literally $1 trillion. So imagine that stacked up 87 times, right? That's the broadness, right? The big vision of $87 trillion. Well, that is the reason why I started Chambliss Mortgage Capital. I mentioned to you early on that I've been purchasing, rehabbing, and selling properties for 18 years, and we sold over 20 different properties personally, right? Like personally. Now, we also been involved in helping other investors get access to their capital. Well, I discovered along the way what we call private money, right? And that's the only capital I have been using throughout my investment portfolio, right? That's the reason why we was able to do the massive things that we did. We've helped so many people because they get access to private money. Well, why is that so important? Well, number one, you don't have to worry about your personal income and debts, right? We call it that debt to income ratio in the consumer world of home lending, right? Well, in the commercial world or business to business world of business lending, we don't look at your personal income and your personal debts that's on your credit report. That doesn't exist. So you don't have to worry about that qualification. You don't have to worry about the tax return headaches, right? Individuals sometimes they have a great business, they have a great cash flow. You might have made a $225,000 revenue for the year, and you only show that you earned $15,000 in income, right? And then you go to traditional banks or the traditional mortgage company, like, oh, you ain't making enough money on your taxes. Like you didn't show no income. You only made $15,000. But what happens? They typically tell you, say, listen, you need to go amend your taxes, right? Or wait for 2 years and redo your taxes. And you asking the question, okay, well, how much I need to show? And so they're doing their little calculation because they don't know what they're doing off the time. They're doing their little calculation. Well, in order for you to reach this DTI ratio properly, right, you need to be showing about $75,000 of income on your taxes. So you go to the average person and say, okay, well, I could do it. Let me go ahead and amend my taxes, right? Or the other person, let me wait 2 years, right? 2 whole years. Anything can happen in 2 years. And let me go file my taxes year 1 and year 2. So what happened is they go to their CPA and say, listen, I'm trying to buy this piece of real estate. I have to show about $75,000 in income. And all of a sudden they're showing that on their taxes, right? Looks good, awesome. Now all of a sudden, right, if they're in the 30% tax bracket, let's do the math real quick, right? They're in a 30% tax bracket. So there's $75,000 that they earn with earned income times 0.3 to 30%. That's about $22,000 they could potentially owe the IRS, right? That's just year 1, right? Year 2, they could potentially owe the IRS about $45,000 if they show $75,000 the first year, $76,000 the second year, because the banking system, the people at the bank tell you, hey, you want to increase your income. You know, year 1, you want to have it 75, but year 2, you want to show an increase, 76,000. But nobody's telling you about the taxes that you're going to have to pay the IRS. Now, here you go. You then filed your taxes, waited 2 years, or you did want to revise your taxes, went back 2 years, and now you have this $44,000 plus debt to the IRS you have, and you haven't even got pre-approved yet from the bank for your investment property. Well, that's not fair. There's a better way, ladies and gentlemen, and that's called private money. Well, we're not asking for your personal income verification. We're not asking for the rigorous tax return that you got to go through. And we're not even asking for hassles throughout the loan process, right? And so you want to avoid those things as best as you can. On the conventional side of traditional lending, you can only have 10 properties in your personal name. That's it. If you get to the 11th property, say, I want to buy this 11th property, they're running your name through the system and say, oh, no, buddy. You have 10 properties in your name already, and you cannot get a 11th property. So it's stopping your growth, right? It's stopping you from growing. And that's some strategies I can share with you to kind of get around that, right? But at the same time, well, with private money, you can have as many loans that you want out there, right? You can have 20 loans, 15 loans, 30 loans, 50 loans. You can have that, and it never, right, never caps you. The reason why, because these are business to business loans with private money, right? That means you hold title in your business name, so you're protected. You hold your insurance policies in your business name, you're protected, right? Everything is in your name. The debt does not show up on your personal credit report because, again, the application, the loan, the insurance, the title, everything is in your business name. So that allows you, right, the freedom. So now if you have 10, 15 rental properties in your business name, right, and somebody pulls your credit, your debt to income ratio is never affected. Nobody even know you have these properties, especially if you set them up, set the LLC up in a certain way. You can be unidentified as the owner. So those are some benefits of the difference between conventional lending and private money lending. So let's look at some of the things that we have at Chambers Mortgage Capital. And that is number one, we have fix and flip loans. We have new construction ground up loans. We have stabilized loans. And that simply means that these three is what we call a bridge loan, right? It's a 12-month term loan. It gives you enough time to buy that property at a discount, renovate that property. We give you the money to purchase it, and we give you the money to rehab it, right? And once you finish the property, your goal is to sell a property. Great, you get it sold. You sold it in 3 months or 4 months. You want to pay us 3 months or 4 months worth of interest. We're not asking to be an equity partner with you. We don't want to split your net profits with you. Only thing we want is to invest our little capital, right? Our little coins, get a good return back. And then that way we're hoping that you come back or refer us to somebody else that they could keep investing. And we could keep that money moving, right? That's the whole point. And so with our short-term loan or our bridge loan, that's the benefits of the fix and flip. You also could turn that into a fix and hold, right? We call it the bird method. We're going to get into that a little later. But also we have long-term loans, right? Loans for 30 years, fixed rate mortgages. Once again, we're not looking at your debt to income ratio. We're actually looking at the property's debt to income ratio, right? Meaning that what is the debt on a property? Your principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, right? When we add all of that up, let's say it's $1,500, right? We just want to make sure that you're not bringing in from the lease agreement that you have $1,300, right? If you owe $1,500 for your mortgage payment, but you want to bring it in $1,300, is that a profitable deal? Of course not, right? The deal doesn't make sense. It's not a profitable deal. Now, if you paying PI, TI, principal, interest, tax, and insurance $1,500, now all of a sudden you got a lease in place for $2,200, $2,500, or whatever that case, and it's more than what you owe as the principal, interest, tax, and insurance, then that is a good deal. It's a cash flowing property. So those are the type of deals we like to fund, a profitable deal. From a fix and flip or new construction standpoint, we want to know if you're going to sell a property, do you have a net profit in it, right? We help you do calculations to make sure, oh, yep, like you can make about $55,000, $60,000 off this deal. Good deal. Let's go, right? Or we may even help you out in a way like, whoa, I don't know if you've seen this, but you're only going to make about $5,000 off this deal. You working 4 months, 3 months, 5 months for $5,000. That's not a profitable deal. So we protect you in that transaction by giving you the education, and that's the purpose of Financial Success University. Is again, guys, you just joining right now, you want to go to financialsuccessuniversity.com, right? Very simple. And then you can register for free into our mastermind community. Or you can simply go to chambersmortgagecapital.com, click on that little link that says join now, right? And then you be able to join our mastermind community for free, right? It's being a beta launch right now. It will be some costs in the future, but we have a lot of content just like this that's in there where you can have continuing education, but also be able to network and build your team, right? It takes a team to build wealth, right? And so that's the reason why we created that. So again, the reason why I created Chambers Mortgage Capital, because I've seen a need in our community. I've seen a need to get fair and equitable access to the capital that you need, right? To be able to fund your deals easier and simpler so you can earn the income you prefer and really live that lifestyle that you really want. And so now we are lending, I want you guys to get this, in 40 plus states. Everything that you see in blue right here, that's where we're lending at, right? So here's a quick example of before and after, right? Couple bought the property, rehabbed it, and they sold the property, right? Our loan amount was $168,000, right? The after repair value was $263,000, right? We did a 12-month term loan. We actually did 80% of the purchase price. They only brought 20% of the purchase price to the table. And we did 100% financing on the rehab, right? They got the property sold, right? It was amazing. So here's our simple 4 underwriting C's. This is our criteria, guys. The collateral, right? We want to make sure that the deal makes sense, right? I just talked about that, right? We want to make sure that if you're going to fix and flip the property, there's a good net profit for you. If you're going to hold the property, is it going to cash flow for you, right? collateral. We want to make sure that the property is a good deal. What's the as-is value? What's the future value once you repair? Second underwriting C we look at is character, right? Like, what is your experience, right? Have you been studying? Or have you taken courses? Do you have a mentor, right? What's your character? Do you respond to emails well? Respond to phone calls? I jokingly say from time to time, if I have a hard time, or my loan processor, or one of my branch managers, they have a hard time reaching out to you when you're trying to get money from us. And how in the world are we going to get in touch with you when you do get money from us, right? So character goes a long way, right? Character is doing what you say you was going to do, doing the right things when nobody is looking, right? So we look at character, right? We look at the capacity as well. Do you have the capacity to close this deal, right? Do you have enough funds to pay for your insurance, your closing costs, your prepaid, your down payment? Do you have the capacity with the assets that you need, right? Do you have the credit that you need? Are your credit jacked up, right? If so, we got a program for you. We'll help you out. We help many people get their jacked up credit together, right? We just want to make sure, hey, are you paying your bills on time? Or you just like, hey, I don't care about that bill, right? That's the problem. We want to know. So we only underwrite on these 4 C's. So again, if you need to join the community, if you've seen some value, what we have, you have any thirst in helping us to be able to fight financial insecurity and homelessness in our community, then we encourage you to join the financialsuccessuniversity.com, the mastermind community, right? Because the whole goal is to be able to help others, to be able to develop them to be developers, right? We're developing new developers, right? So let's get into some of the training, right? So what is private money lending? Well, it's very simple. It's money that is generated through private resources. It could be individuals. It could be businesses, right? Corporations that's large. It could be private credit funds, right? It could be a combination of it all, right? And so, in other words, it's not backed by Freddie Mac or Fannie Mae. It's not bought by, the loans are not bought by Freddie Mac or Fannie Mae. You don't have all those guidelines as the consumer loan. Because remember, this is a business to business loan, right? It's a commercial loan, right? And so an individual that's behind the funding, right, is individuals that don't want their money in stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. They want some diversified. They want to diversify their portfolio, right? So you have to know there's a big difference between private money and traditional financing. And I went over that pretty detailed about 2-3 minutes ago, right? So we're not going to go into too much. So here's how it works. Individuals, corporations, small businesses, right? Private credit funds, right? And different other lending institutions, right? They say, listen, I don't want my money just in stocks, mutual funds, and bonds, and treasuries, and crypto. I need to diversify. So they make a decision. Say, okay, if I have, let's say in this example, right, $200,000 that you have discretionary, right? A lot of people using their IRA accounts, right? It's called self-directed IRA, right? So you can use your IRA to invest in real estate in anything you want, right? Pretty much. So anyway, with that being said, let's say this person had $200,000 in self-directed IRA. They say, Randy, I want 10% on my money, right? Cool. Let's go make what does this look like, right? So with $200,000, and then you invest it and stick it in the bank and earning 2% in a CD, right? That's the goal on the side, right? That's the gold bar. For 6 months, you earn $2,000 on your money. In private money lending, you earn $10,000 on your money. You see the difference? If you're 9 months in, and at the bank, you're going to earn $3,000. In private money, you're going to earn $15,000 off your money. This is the beautiful thing, guys, because your money is making money. So, guys, I got to the point in my life that I'm in a position where I want to lend out money. I don't want to deal with tenants and toilets. I already be able to be the bank and that'll be able to generate income, earn income, and it's passive. True, predictive, passive income. So let's say that you have your money in the bank and it's 12 months down the road. Well, you can expect to earn a guesstimate about $4,000 off your money. Well, with private money lending, you earn over $20,000 with that money, right? You see the difference? And so you can keep rolling that money in. But what's beautiful about it is that the private money loan is backed by the real estate. It's secured by the real estate property itself. It is protected by insurance policy, whether it's homeowners insurance, flood insurance, title insurance. You have the protection that's there. Also, it's predictable. It's a predictable income stream that show up month after month, month after month. Every time that real estate investors spend their money on that monthly interest only payment, guess what? You get paid. So at some point, we want to move you through the progression of having a job. You're on your career path. You're earning enough money because you have the financial literacy and financial education behind you, where you have more cash left over at the end of the month than you do bills. You're investing that money, and now you're making money off your money, right? You have investment properties, you have doors that you have, but at some point, you want to get to a point where you're that lender and not the tail. Because in one of my favorite books, right, my favorite books talk about the borrower as a slave to the lender. So at some point, you want to be the lender, right? But until you get there, you want to be able to get the education you need. You want to be able to get the relationships you need, the networking you need, so you can build your team. That's what we've been talking about. So next, let's look at the advantages of private money for real estate investors. Well, one is faster funding times, right? The traditional banks might take 45 days to close a loan if they even close it. I've seen oftentimes people that waited 45 days. The day before the closing, right? They found an issue, something went on with their credit, something went on, and they can't close, right? The deal is dead, right? And so with private money, we funded deals in 14 days before. Our average is 21 days, depending on how fast that you're moving to give us the documents we need, but fast funding timeline. That's a huge advantage that you have. Because if you have a property, let's say that you have an off-market property, you generated this lead, it's a foreclosure, right? It's in foreclosure and you need to move quick. You don't have 30 to 45 days to wait. You got to have that capital right there, ready to go. Another advantage is that it gives you flexibility in your loan, right? It gives you some flexibility, right? You could do a fix and flip, right? We could do a fix and flip, a fix and hold, right? A bird strategy, right? You could do all of that. So it gives you some flexibility. It also gives you access to funding from non-traditional deals, right? So you don't have to worry about the personal income verification, the tax return, and all the other rigorous loan hassle from the traditional banks and mortgage companies. Well, using private money for a specific investment strategy. Again, fix and flip properties, right? A lot of people coming across opportunities at a discount, but they need some repairs, right? This loan product we have at Challenge Mortgage Capital give you the money to purchase the house and the funding to be able to make the rehab complete, to better complete the rehab, right? Well, so the BRRRR strategy. Some of you guys have this strategy where you buy the property, that's the B. You rehab it, the first R. You rent that property out, the second R. You refinance, the third R, meaning you pull all your cash out that property. It's called a cash out refinance. So if you dumped in $40,000, right? Once you refinance, if the deal made sense, if it was a good deal, you should be able to pull out that entire $40,000 and more out. And here's the beautiful thing about it. When there's a debt, right? When there's a debt on a property that you're pulling out, then that's not taxable, guys. Think about that. Now, I'm not a CPA, so go and talk to your CPA, get you some legal advice from your tax attorney, right? But what I can tell you is that you don't pay taxes on debt. And with real estate, when you do that cash out refinance, yes, you pull in little $40,000 back if that's what you put in. So now that is tax-free money. Number one, you have no money tied up in this property at all, right? And now it's cash flowing from you month after month, month after month. Then you can take that same money you pulled out and go do it again. Go buy you another property at a deep discount, renovate it, rent it, and what? Rent it, and what? Refinance, do a cash out free refinance. Pull all that capital back out again and go do it a third time. And you can continue to do that over and over again. And that's how you build your wealth. And of course, ground up new construction, and your value adds. So what's some of the products that we have at Chambers Mortgage Capital? Well, we talked about the fix and flips, right? We talked about that. We could go down to, usually I like to do $75,000, the minimum loan amount, but we can go up to $3.5 million on fix and flips. Also, single family homes. If you have a single family property that's ready to go, is rent ready, you don't need no rehab, minimum again about $75,000. We could go to $2.5 million, guys, on our single family rental loans, right? Again, this is a business to business loan. You close in your business name, you hold title in your business name, the application in your business name, the loan in your business name, right? All of that is in your business name. Never shows up on your personal credit report as a debt, right? We could do single family homes, doubles, triplexes, and even 4-unit properties, fourplexes, right? We also could do warrantable condos, right? Some townhouses, right? So we have some flexibility, right? The minimum FICO score, you don't need a 700 plus credit score with us. We can go down as a minimum of 660 FICO score. The higher, the better, obviously, right? But you get the point. Round up new construction for our developers. In order for you to get access to this property, you have to be just that. You have to be a developer. You have to have some experience, right? You can't be brand new, trying to build a brand new home from the ground, right? It's going to put you in a very disadvantaged space, right? So we do have ground up new construction for our developers, right? It's an amazing product. So let's look up a quick breakdown, right? This is how we help you to determine if the deal is profitable, right? Imagine for a moment, this is a fix and flip loan, right? You got an opportunity to buy a property off the market, and it's $100,000 purchase price, right? So you buy it for $100,000. You can see at the very top in yellow, at the very first line item, purchase price $100,000. You determine your after repair value, meaning that after the property is completely done and is repaired, you can sell this property for $230,000, right? Your loan amount, what us as a private money lender is $115,000 because you got to have some skin in the game, right? Your rehab budget is $40,000. Let's say you only have 4 months, right? It took you 4 months to sell this property. And this is a little tip, guys. Every $10,000 worth of rehab typically takes you about 1 week worth of work, right? 1 week worth of work equals $10,000 in rehab. So in this example, that's $40,000 in rehab. So it should take you about 4 weeks to get that done. So day one, January 1st, January 31st, you should be completed that rehab. That property should be going on the market on February 1st, if that makes sense, right? So that's why I say about 4 months to get this thing closed. You have your interest rate, you have your lender origination fees. If you have a broker that that's going to help you to sell your house, you want to put their fees in. Then all other acquisition costs in there, right? So once you put those acquisition costs in, you know what your purchase price is, your acquisition cost is, and you know what your holding cost is. Got some holding costs in there, right? And then also your selling costs, like what's going to cost you to sell a property, right? Like your realtor fee, right? Things of that nature, right? So in this example, that's about $54,000 that you can earn in profits. And this is net profit, right? I'm talking about after you get your original money back that you invested in, the down payment that you put in, the insurances that you paid for, right? The property taxes that you paid. When you get all that money back at the end of the deal, when this is sold, you still walk away with $54,000, right? So we're just doing the math. This is the math breakdown. People lie, but numbers don't, right? So let's break down this math. Let's say that right there it says total. It says what you say, flip economics, right? Where it says total profits on flip. So let's say $50,084, right? You take that $50,084 and you divide that by your total cash in after 4 months. After 4 months. That's $47,816. So let me bring that back, clean that up a little bit, right? Total profit on a flip, $50,084. Your cash in, even after a 4-month hold time, you're all in of $47,000. That's what you came to the table with. When you do your ROI, you take that $50,000, you divide it by that 47, you have a rate of return, your ROI of 105%. That is phenomenal, ladies and gentlemen. This is a profitable deal. This is a good deal. This is the deals that we like to fund. You go find this type of deal, we go fund it all day long. Remember, we are backed by a private credit fund that has funded over $10 billion over the last 10 years alone in investment properties, right? So that means we have more money to lend than we have deal flow. So I need your help to help deploy this capital in 40 different states, right? And the only way to do that, we have to educate you, give you expert guidance, and then give you fair access to the private money, to that private capital, right? And that's how we're able to make sure that you can make money, you can solve a problem for your community, right? By providing more affordable and workforce housing. And then we can make a return on our money. So when we get that money back from you, we can go and reinvest that money with another real estate investor, another developer, and another entrepreneur, right? So entrepreneurs come to us all the time that may be a daycare owner and they want to buy a small commercial building. Well, we could fund that deal, right? Might be a dentist, right, who's looking to expand their dentistry or looking for a commercial building. We could fund that deal as well. It could be a multi-family home with 50 units in it, right? 12 units, 20. We could fund that deal. And everything is in that business name, right? So you have to know that if you have access to the private capital, guys, you could go out and you can win, and you can win big. So listen, that's my story today. That's the training I want to give you guys. And so I encourage you to go to chamblissmortgagecapital.com, join the community for free. Click on that button at the very top, and that's where you're going to come to this page at the top right? Just click on request to join, fill out the little simple form, your name, your email address, create a secure password. You're going to get on the inside and you'll be able to see all the other trainings that we have in there. So listen, make sure you tell a friend. God bless and enjoy the rest of your day on purpose, ladies and gentlemen. I mean it together.
That brings today's show to a close. Thank you for listening to the Private Lending Insider Podcast. If you enjoyed the episode, feel free to share it with a friend and subscribe. Please follow us on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at Randy the Private Money Lender. For continuing education and access to reliable private capital, visit chamblissmortgagecapital.com. Until next time, choose to have a great day on purpose.